Hey everybody, it's Audrey and welcome back to my channel. I'm sorry for my absence last week. With Prime Days going on, I didn't want to post too much additional content. For today's video, I thought I would do a really extensive get to know me. I asked you guys, my followers, for the questions you would like answered on my other platforms, so I will be weaving those into my video. For a quick introduction, my name is Audrey and I teach you how to live intentionally. Intentional living to me means to live with purpose in all aspects of my life. On my channel, I will teach you how to save time, minimize clutter, live efficiently, and better your mental health through a tidy home. Let's start at the beginning. My parents are both from the county that we still live in. They grew up in different small towns, but they moved to the town that we're currently in before my brother and I were born. I don't want to get too specific about my location, but we live in Northeast Missouri. So I've never lived in any other town besides my hometown. My twin brother and I were born in June of 1990. My brother Andrew is my best friend behind my husband. Being twins, we have a very close relationship. He's kind and caring. I call him a big teddy bear because he's super tall and so sweet. He is currently engaged to be married next June. His fiance is a gorgeous girl. I love her so much. She is also from our small town. They are actually building a house too, so they have a lot of exciting things coming up next year. I have known my husband Luke since forever. We went to the same school. He is 6 months younger than me, but he was a grade lower than me in school. We went to my 6th grade dance together, but we officially started dating in the summer of 2005 when we were both 14. We've been together ever since. We went to college in our small town. Luke played baseball and majored in criminal justice. I majored in business administration with a specialization in organizational management. We both graduated college in 3 years. I continued to work at a bank after college. It was where I was already working while I was in college. I just kept working there in a different position. Luke went on to the police academy. We got married in October of 2011, which was his final year of college. I was 21 and he was 20. It sounds crazy, I know. He wasn't even legally allowed to drink at our wedding. If you knew us though, you wouldn't have thought it was crazy. We've just always been one of those constants in our town, like Audrey and Luke are a package deal. No one was surprised we got married when we did. Luke and I have always known that we wanted to be married and have children, even as kids. We didn't always know what we wanted to do with our lives, but we were positive that the foundation of our future would be our marriage and our children. We both lived in my parents' house during college. My husband started working as a sheriff's deputy for our county after he finished the academy. We moved into our own little house in January of 2012. We had our first child, our daughter Isabella, in September of 2012. In October of that year, while I was finishing up maternity leave, I was hired at a commercial industrial construction company. It was a really stressful time. I had an extreme case of postpartum depression, and I kept going to the ER because I felt like I couldn't breathe. It turns out I was just having extreme panic attacks. I was prescribed lorazepam, and it helped tremendously. At this point, I still had not done any research about mental health. I just took medication and kept on living my life. My employer was dealing with some internal issues as well, involving fraud, so I really got baptism by fire when I was hired. There was no manual on what to do. My office was a mess. It was a very stressful time. I would cry in the shower every morning because I didn't want to go to work. But Luke encouraged me to stick with it, and I'm so glad he did. After about 6 months, I had reorganized the office, caught up on everything that hadn't been done, implemented my own systems, and I had the company streamlined and running efficiently. In 2013, my husband and I agreed that we wanted to build a house of our own. We had no money. Combined, I think we had $6,000 in savings. I had a stupid car loan for $20,000, and we had a mortgage of $55,000. We knew we would need additional sources of income, but we didn't know from where. We met with our loan officer just preliminary to find out how much money we would need to build. That gave us a goal. My husband was able to pick up some work on an overtime project through his sheriff's office. That really helped build up our savings to afford the down payment. We also moved back in with my parents and rented out our house for extra income. In the fall of 2014, my husband was hired as a conductor for BNSF. That was about the same time we started building our dream home. Luke's conductor job was really good for our family. He would make triple what he was making as a deputy. He really loved his job. He loved the traveling to different cities. He hated not being home with us though. I can't remember when, maybe a year and a half later, he was laid off for an extended period. The government had kind of shut down coal production, which was the majority of what BNSF transported. There was no indication of when work would resume, and at this point we had a 2-year-old. and a brand new house with a large mortgage to go along with it. We had a little bit in savings, but he needed to get a job ASAP. He was hired as a manager of a wholesale food service business. The job was okay, but he didn't love it. He worked second shifts, so he didn't see us much. We had our second child in May of 2016, our son Grayson. Later that year, he was also elected as public administrator of our county. He worked both jobs for a few years. We were terrible with money. If we had been intentional and created a budget, he wouldn't have had to work so much, but to be young and dumb. Eventually, we smartened up enough for him to be able to quit the second shift job. Now he just works his public administrator job. He works from home. He likes it a lot. He's able to make a difference, and he has a level of patience for it that I definitely don't have. During the kids' early years, when Luke was always gone working, it was chaos. I was a young working mother. I didn't have any organizational systems in place. I was just basically treading water. It was in those years I used to wish I could be a stay-at-home mom. I thought that was the answer to my problems. I really enjoyed teaching our kids at home and doing crafts with them, and I still do. I teach both of our children at home after school and after work over the summer. But more than that, I was convinced that my house would be organized and tidy if I were home. That wasn't true, but I thought it was. My mental health just constantly kept getting worse over the years. I knew my home was the problem, but I didn't know how to fix it. And about midway through 2020, something switched inside of me. I had always had partially good ideas about organization and cleaning, but something was missing. And then all of a sudden, things clicked. I started understanding the needs of my home. I started creating systems as solutions for the problems I was facing. I wish I could tell you where all of this comes from, everything that I teach on organized chaos, but the truth is, I don't know. I've never read any organizing books or visited any websites like that. Even now, people will mention a person or a method to me in the world of cleaning and organizing, and I never have a clue what they're talking about. I feel like this stuff has always been inside me, just waiting to come out when I need it at most. I don't know, it sounds crazy, but I wasn't an organized child or anything, but I did like things to be somewhat orderly and tidy. My mom isn't a hoarder, but she does have a hard time getting rid of stuff, so that's always kind of weighed on me. I don't like living with lots of stuff. Organization has always fascinated me to some extent. For instance, I remember once I was like 14 and some friends called and asked me to go to the movies, and I was in the middle of organizing my parents' photo albums. My friends were like, no, you're coming to the movie. It's Saturday night. But honestly, I would have just been so content to just sit there and continue organizing those pictures. But again, it's not like I was super organized. I just knew that what I was doing made me happy. But, like whoever thinks to themselves, I want to be an organizer when I grow up, that's not something a person would have thought about, especially then. And I didn't even know that was a profession until I was in my 20s. Sometimes I wish I had known everything I teach when my kids were really little. I feel like things wouldn't have been so stressful and I could have enjoyed my time with them as babies a lot more. But wishing what could have been is pointless. And I'm extremely happy with where I am and where my kids are right now. I started off my content in June of 2021, and at first it seemed really silly, like, does anyone even care what I'm sharing? And then in January of 2022, I really started gaining a following. It was then that I was receiving a lot of feedback from people saying that I was changing their lives, and that was all I needed to stick with it. For anyone wanting to get into content creation, I would say the things that make you most successful are, number one, picking a niche that you're passionate about, and number two, bringing something new to your channel. 2023 was the first year that I acknowledged the fact that, wow, I am actually making a living doing this. It seems too good to be true at times, but I definitely work really hard for everything I have. I put in a crazy amount of hours, but I love what I do. I still have my normal full-time job. Last year, I negotiated a 4-day work week, and having that weekday off every week helps a lot. My schedule might seem a little crazy to some, but I get up to work out at 4:30, which is actually something I just started. And then I leave for work at 6. I get home at 5, and then I make supper, do chores, hang out with the family. From 6 to 8, I play with the kids and do schoolwork with them. And then while they're laying down for bed, I work on my content for about an hour, or I finish chores, and then I head to bed around 9:30. We kind of joke that my husband had all of those years working multiple jobs, so now it's my turn. As of right now, I could definitely quit my full-time job and still earn more than enough to support our family, but I don't for 2 reasons. Number one, who knows what the future holds? Working for yourself can be really risky if you don't know the outcome. And number two, and this is 70% of the reason, I love my employers. They took a chance on me when I was a 22-year-old mother that didn't know anything. They're so kind and they always look out for me, their family, and I couldn't imagine living without them. I'm always asked why I don't create my own home organizing business, and there are several reasons. The main ones are, number one, I'm an introvert. I have extreme social anxiety. I don't enjoy talking with people, and if I were in people's homes, I would feel very exposed. It's so silly, but I don't even like going out to dinner at places where I might see someone I know. Number two, people have a strong emotional attachment to items. I could see organizing someone's home could get a little hairy, with the wrong person, but I definitely want to continue to grow my business. I have thought of several different avenues, such as podcasts, books, and more. I'm currently working on my next project in my free time, which is few and far between right now. Things were going along really well this year. I had a really successful February through Organized Chaos. I had planned a lot of spring cleaning stuff. And then on March 20th, our house burned down. It was a Monday. It was about 2:30 when Luke called me at work and said that the house was burning down and our pets were stuck inside. He had been in our master bathroom working on some plumbing when the smoke detector started going off. He went all over the house trying to find the cause and couldn't find anything. He went all around, down to the basement, everywhere. The last place he checked was the garage. The door didn't feel hot or anything, so he opened it up and immediately smoke filled the house. He was disoriented right away. He made his way to another door to the outside. He left it open and then he ran around to the garage to try to find a different way in to put the fire out. He wasn't able to get in. He ran back inside the house to find our pets. They were hiding due to the commotion. He called for them, but they didn't come out. At this point, the house was filled with smoke and flames. He lost his way trying to find a door, and he started to run out of oxygen. He finally made it out, but without the pets. It took me about 20 minutes to get home, and by the time I got there, the house was completely engulfed, and the fire department was setting up for water trucks. It turns out the fire started in the corner of the garage. We don't know how. There wasn't any electrical over there, just one outlet. It's a complete mystery. After the fire, I was completely defeated. We lost everything. Our sweet pets were gone. Everything we built was in ashes. I didn't know what to do. The thought of rebuilding an entire life was too much to consider. I definitely thought that was the end of my content creating, and right after I had finally acknowledged my success. I spent weeks crying all day long. I would drop the kids off at school and start crying on the drive home. But I kept going, even when I wanted to give up. We are finally coming out of the storm. I'm able to focus on building a new house, continuing to grow my brand. My kids are really flourishing. I try really hard not to think about the old house and our pets. Our new house will be completely different in terms of layout and design. I don't want any resemblance of the past, or I'm afraid my mind will just get stuck there. Lately, I've been a little nervous about moving into our own home. I've spent 4 months so far healing in my childhood home. Moving back into my own place will be a huge, scary step, but I have several more months before that happens. Our lives are pretty busy right now, and they'll continue to get busier and busier for the rest of the year. In addition to building our dream home, our family has started a health journey. Our plan is to live a healthier lifestyle to go along with our new home. Even our kids have jumped on the bandwagon. They've started exercising more and eating healthier foods. My husband has lost 55 pounds. I haven't weighed myself in a long time. I lost 20 pounds in the first month. Then I kind of fell off a little. I'm getting back on track. I plan to weigh myself in a month or so. I will continue posting videos here on my health journey periodically. Now that I've kind of went through my background and up to this point, I thought I would just give you a little insight of my day-to-day life. So as I said, I work at a construction company 4 days a week. I create my content on my off days and a little during the evenings. I post on my 5 platforms at least once a day. My husband works from home as a public administrator. Isabella will be starting 5th grade next month, and Grayson will start 2nd. Isabella also plays traveling basketball, which my brother coaches, and traveling softball, which my husband coaches. She enjoys soccer, but I don't think she'll have time for it this year. You'll notice I don't post my daughter on here as much as my son, and that's because my daughter does not like being on camera unless she approves the images. Yes, we are getting to those lovely ages. We are living at my parents' while our new house gets built. I post videos on the house progress on here. Currently, they are finishing up the basement concrete. They should be ready to start framing at the beginning of August. As more visible things get done at the house, I'll be posting videos more often. Right now, I've only posted one so far, but I will definitely have a new one for you like the second week of August. Living at my parents' house has been a blessing, but it's also frustrating at times just because of the space. Our son shares a room with my husband and I. He sometimes sleeps in his sister's room though, but we will all enjoy having our own space again. I'm nervous and excited to start buying stuff to fill our new home. We have nothing right now, so I will have to buy everything. I will definitely document that entire process here, so make sure you're a subscriber. I think I've touched on most of the questions you guys asked. If you have any other ones, comment those down below and I would be happy to answer them. Next Tuesday's video will be on grocery and meal planning on a budget. We spend $100 a week on groceries for our family of 4, even with eating healthy. So check that out if you're struggling in that area. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you next Tuesday.